Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over this 7-game slate on Saturday in the NBA DFS streets. My name is Sal, and if this is your first time here, welcome. Like I said, we're going to be covering NBA DFS today. I cover all things DFS. We're going to be getting into MLB very, very soon. I posted on Twitter yesterday, actually, so if anybody knows of anybody or yourself, getting some help with NBA and MLB when the seasons overlap, looking for pretty much a clone of myself, somebody who knows how to make YouTube videos and somebody who knows about NBA, but preferably also wider knowledge in the MLB streets. Just to produce some content, it would be great. So if you know anybody, just hit me up on Twitter, send me an email at dailyfantasyassist.com. Well, welcome to the channel. The whole goal here, if you're new, and we get a lot of new people on Saturdays, so if you could hit that thumbs up, it helps me a ton. It'll reach even more people. Returning subscribers, what up? How you doing? Hit that thumbs up. Appreciate it. But yeah, so Saturdays we get a lot of people, and the whole thing here is to give you overwhelming value. So yesterday was just a wild day with injuries. So a lot of the times early on, we'll set the stage for what you should expect early in the day, whether it's get prepared for these injuries through the injury dashboard, the target offense sheet, which will for the most part stay the same. Maybe Vegas odds will move a little bit, but all the pace matchups, defense versus position, we'll get into that. And then some of my early interests on the day, guys that I'm looking to build lineups around, at least if we got no more news as of right now early on, before I dive deeper into the research. So welcome to the channel. If you would consider subscribing throughout the video at any point, I would greatly appreciate it. Make sure to hit that thumbs up. Right before we do this, get into the housekeeping, get into the Discord. It's just a group texting website or app. About 315 people. A couple of people took down some big prizes last night. Somebody took down with a 370 score, a thousand place tournament, $1,000 tournament, the top prize. People are just taking down spots. A couple other people scored 370, finished high in some other lower end tournaments. People knocking out the 25-cent jukeboxes. A couple people have taken those down already. We had earlier in the year $30,000 winner in the NFL. So this is just incredible. Get in there. It's just at the very least, if you don't like associating and talking, you could absorb the knowledge. I put the target offense sheet in here. People are chatting in there, so it's completely free. Get in there. And then if you do want the projections, like you can see above, it says NBA projections link below. That's through Patreon. The link will take you to this site. $7.99 a day. It comes out to like 30 cents a day. People are using them for cash. You could also get an idea for tournaments of where the median projections are. So you can check that out if you like. Those are for the NBA, but I will have some for the MLB soon. I'm working on those as we speak. And then the NFL once that comes, the sleeping giant of the NFL. So without further ado, let's hop into this video. Starting as always with the injury dashboard. And there are actually some interesting things on here. Some that if you're watching this early in the day, you might not have actually realized because some players got injured in games last night. But to start, Kevin Durant, he went from questionable to doubtful now. So the last time out, Boogie Cousins had probably and arguably his best game as a Warrior. Short stint there so far, but his best game as a Warrior. We know the usage rates with Steph Curry go through the roof without Durant on the floor. Those are the two biggest guys I'd say get a bump in production. Draymond Green, small sample, actually sees a reduction. I'd imagine that that's just negative regression, probably come back closer to a little bit more positive for him, price at 5,800. But Draymond Green usage rate is just miserable. Yeah, miserable, but you also have to take into account when people will be saying that it's not taking his role really into account. He's a guy who gets the peripherals, and that's not in the usage rate, mainly field goal percentage, turnovers, things like that. That's what's calculated into usage rate. You're not getting the assists, the steals, the rebounds. So none of that goes into usage rate, and that's really where Draymond, his blocks, things like that, he gets his points. But that's Durant. Alan Crabbe will be out for at least 2 games now. His knee is draining. So with DeMarre Carroll back, and that's another piece of news for the Nets, with DeMarre Carroll back now, we could actually filter this by team. But with DeMarre Carroll back, it's going to just solidify Carroll for a guy who's seeing low to mid-20s in minutes, probably solidifies him closer to around the 20 points in minutes. Let me just filter this. To around the 25 points in minutes without any Carroll. You're going to see Dellavedova pops up here because no team. Just throw Cleveland in. So now that it's filtered, messed up a little bit, but Dellavedova, we can just start there. This is actually somewhat important. Look, for him personally, nobody wants to play him. He's minimum price, but you're not going to get anything out of that. But if he remains out with this concussion, Jordan Clarkson will continue to see backup point guard minutes, as well as Colin Sexton, his minutes locked in at 35. Clarkson will split at the 1 and the 2. Clarkson should see his minutes solidified around 30 to 31 instead of around 27 to 28. Now you might be thinking, who cares, 2 to 3 minutes more? Even if he scores a point per minute, that's only an extra 2 to 3 points in my lineup. Does that really matter? And for the most part, I don't play much of Jordan Clarkson, but if we're thinking about this from a higher level, yeah, that does really matter because you have 8 lineup spots, and if you could project the same exact way for all those players, getting guys that get an extra 2 minutes into your rotations or into your lineups across the board on average, even if it's just an extra 1 minute, now you have 8 extra minutes in your lineup. If they average a point per minute, now you have 8 extra points, and that starts to matter. The difference between scoring 285 and 293 in DFS and cash, at least, is a lot. It's probably the difference between profiting and not on most nights. So that's why that really matters. Jordan Clarkson will see a bump if Dellavedova remains out. Thomas Satoransky also injured his head last night. Not sure if it's a concussion. The word is not out as of right now, but he's questionable. Chasen Randall started the second half for him last night. Only played 8 minutes in the second half. Randall would be affected. Not sure if he'll draw the start today. I would imagine so. Bradley Beal, who's already seeing 40 minutes a game in the past month, 39 minutes a game, whatever it might be, he'll be affected, meaning he'll be manning the point guard as well. So his price coming down. Now you're going to get a point Bradley Beal potentially in a rough matchup against Memphis, but nothing that at 40 minutes a game and half of those or more at the point guard position you don't love in Beal. Also, Troy Brown should be on this impacted list here. He played 17 minutes last game, and he's also somebody who can take over for some of these point guard minutes. I didn't really watch the second half. I didn't really popcorn machine it, so I'm not sure if he played the majority of the run. Randall only getting 8 minutes at the point, or if Beal just pretty much took over. Exum is out. The only thing this really affects is Nito as the backup now. It's a patella tendon, so Nito will be the guy getting 15 minutes behind, or maybe even more with Ricky Rubio getting limited a little bit in his minutes. Mo Harkless questionable. We have to see what happens there. It'll be the same thing as yesterday. Rodney Hood saw the most minutes in his absence. Jake Layman got mysteriously bumped down after having a few 20-25 minute games to 13 minutes. Evan Turner should see somewhere in the teens. TJ Warren, I have doubtful. There's no real word, but he's been out for a while. I don't expect that to change on the second night of a back-to-back. Kelly Oubre, minutes locked in close to 32 to 33 at that price of 6,100 today. We'll talk about it, but very nice. Tyler Johnson today is also questionable after missing yesterday. You'll get Devin Booker ideally at the point once again. Kelly Oubre, big usage bump or just more production bump if Tyler Johnson is also out. Control the ball in his hands at the point sometimes as well. Tyreek Evans probable. It reduces Corey Joseph from 25 and some upside minutes-wise to now 22, and you'll get 20 out of Tyreek at the tops. Torrey Craig questionable, not really matters for anything. He's pretty much out of this rotation. Devin Harris questionable, might see 14 minutes a game, not really matters too much. Jalen Brunson's locked in at his minutes, but could affect him or THJ, mainly THJ a little bit. So now we get into Cleveland, where we've been kind of dabbling a little bit. Love's going to play. He rested the last game. He'll be fine. Price coming down on that. Or actually, he played the last game, or did he rest? I can't remember. No, he rested, then played, and he just laid a dud. 22 fantasy points at $8,100. Price came down, though, and we'll talk about that. Larry Nance is questionable, and I have Tristan Thompson questionable. He's probably closer to uncertain or just doubtful. Hasn't played in a while now. Interested to see what happens with Larry Nance and his ribs. Last time out, we just really didn't get a word until everybody was assuming he was out, which I really wasn't sure why. Maybe just because the injury looked bad. I didn't see it, but we didn't really get any word. I'm hoping we get some word earlier today. Dallas, decent matchup. I mean, you're going to go up against who? Dorian Finney-Smith, if you're Larry Nance, Kevin Love, even Ante Zizic. You're going to go up against Dorian Finney-Smith and Ante Zizic, or not Ante Zizic, Dorian Finney-Smith and Dwight Powell. I think that's completely fine. Oh, sorry, do you guys have this reserved?
We have it at 12. So
okay, thanks. All right, we just did a little cut job. Somebody just came in, had a room reserved. But yeah, we were just pretty much talking about these Cleveland Bigs having good matchups against Dallas. That was just weird. People come in, you have the room reserved. It makes no sense to me. But we have these good matchups for Cleveland, actually, against Dallas. Dwight Powell's not really scaring me, and neither is Dorian Finney-Smith. So if Larry Nance is in, yeah, there's going to be some interest there, especially at 5,200, where he could potentially jump into the starting lineup over Zizic, who has just been complete dust with his 30-minute games as of late. Really just taking up space out there. Alan Crabbe should miss some time. We already mentioned this because of his knee. There's just a lot of things on Brooklyn here. Not really any of them matter to me. Brooklyn's just 10 to 12 guys who will all see run. You're going to have Kirkus, you're going to have Carroll, you're going to have Napier seeing maybe below 10 minutes, but Graham is out and Crabbe is out. So you're always having some guys out here. With Carroll returning, gives him a little bit of a bump at only 3,700 for just built-in value, especially now that Crabbe is out. 3,700 for a guy who should see 25 minutes today. It feels good, but again, all these guys are going up against Utah. Very good defensive team. There's really not anything here on Brooklyn, at least on first look. And I know we're talking about injuries, but I'm jumping ahead a little. That against this team and really shaky minutes, sure, the prices on some of these guys help, but there's really nothing here that's standing out to me a ton that I really want to play. The matchups are just scary for guys who are borderline shaky most of the nights, even in decent matchups. So that's what we're looking at right there. I just want to say right now, if you're still watching, hit that like button. Takes a second. And also drop down in the comments below. Let's do a little giveaway. If you watched this far, reward you with something. Drop down in the comments. Just take a second and comment below. Who do you think will be the highest point per dollar? So not overall score, points per dollar. So how much value they're going to get you. Highest point per dollar point guard on tonight's slate. Have to have point guard eligibility, so Bradley Beal will not count. If they're point guards and shooting guards, it'll count. So who will be the highest point per dollar? Put that down below. It doesn't matter if people say the same name. I'll spin a wheel for it. There's an online wheel and for a $10 PayPal. So $10 PayPal Saturday giveaway. Drop down below in the comments. Let me know highest point per dollar point guard on today's 7-game slate. So that's all we have right now. Consider subscribing if you're still here. Let's move on into the target offense sheet. Blow this up a little bit. So target offense sheet today, maybe even a little bit more. There we go. 7 games, 14 teams. Love these 6 to 8 game slates. You guys already know that. 7-game slate is probably the ideal cream of the crop. First one on the docket today, and we'll look at it quickly, and it's something that I do like and something that we should talk about, especially after last night. Last night went well, 330 in cash, even getting Marvin Williams and for only 15 or 16 points. I think they gave him a bump. And who do we have? Moutier yesterday. I didn't feel great about Moutier. I played him in cash, though, just because you would imagine the minutes were there, and they were. Just the production didn't come with it. But Damian Dotson getting recalled, and they love Damian Dotson. They were giving him as much run as he can handle, and he had that yesterday, over 20 minutes, and played a lot better than Moutier. So New Orleans and today in Phoenix is game number 1 on the slate. It is the second fastest paced game on the slate today. Well, game number 1 in terms of just what I'm looking at here. I don't know if this is the way that the schedule breaks down on Draftkings. But New Orleans and Phoenix, so 105.92 pace, that's per team today, so looking at 106 possessions a team, that's good. The total correlates with that at 232.5, that's good. I expect Davis, after resting last night, to play on the second end of this back-to-back is 21 minutes, which at 7,100, the guy's averaging like 1.85 fantasy points per minute in those minutes because he's just going all out. He's scoring at 40 to 45 points a night, which in cash at 7,100 is pretty good. Yeah, the floor's shaky and the guy can go in at halftime and not come back out. But we have a pretty good sample now of him if he starts playing just 21 minutes and going for, at the very minimum, 35 points, which in cash seems pretty stable, honestly, which is crazy to say because you're looking for minutes floors in cash, but a guy that's a 2 fantasy point per minute guy or close to it, that 21 minutes is pretty good at 7,100. New Orleans, though, it's pretty hard not to talk about Elfrid Payton. Price has now come up a little bit more, but still not to a point where I don't want to play him. 3 triple-doubles in a row. This man is a mini Russell Westbrook. Somebody said it in the Discord last night, and I was thinking it before somebody said it. He's so fun to watch. With Davis being out yesterday, it helped him a little bit. Drew Holiday was going to be evaluated in 7 to 10 days. That doesn't mean he's coming back, so it doesn't seem like he's coming back anytime soon. Yeah, the matchup against Phoenix today, especially if we get Devin Booker at the point, again, if Tyler Johnson is out, is phenomenal. Elfrid Payton, I'm fine with once again today. Shooting guard position, Frank Jackson, also going to see a nice little matchup here for him, even if he has... No matter who he has on him, it's either going to be Devin Booker or potentially Kelly Oubre. Frank Jackson, what was his minutes at? They've been stabilizing. Yeah, 36 minutes. All these Pelicans yesterday played big minutes, which for a second gives me pause. I mean, you had 40 minutes plus, 41 minutes, I think, out of Elfrid Payton. I think you had 42 out of Julius Randle. It gives me pause that we could see. I don't think Elfrid Payton's sitting today. He's young. All these guys on back-to-backs, the only guys I'm concerned about are guys dealing with injuries or guys that are older players. There's really none of those on this New Orleans team. They're pretty young. But I'm concerned a little bit about Julius Randle playing 42 minutes. They could very well give him a sit here and some rest. A little bit of not an old player by any means, but dealing with injuries all year long. So is Payton. So there's some pause there, but nothing indicates it. So I can't assume that in the projections. I have them both in, but both playing 40 minutes. And then on the second night of a back-to-back, it seems like a little bit scary that something could happen. But they're all in phenomenal spots. Like Randall's in a phenomenal spot. Anthony Davis, all these guys against Phoenix. And whether you're big or you're a guard, you're in a phenomenal spot today. Everybody on New Orleans is on the radar for me. I like Elfrid Payton. I like Frank Jackson. Randall's prices come down after his best game of the year. I don't want to point chase there, but in cash, it's much more easier to get to, as well as tournaments. And Anthony Davis at 7,100. Yeah, on both formats at 7,100. He's also in play because 45 points out of Anthony Davis can win you a tournament at 7,100. And in cash, 40 points out of Anthony Davis, you're fine with at 7,100. Not thrilled to play it, but it's definitely on the table. On the other side for Phoenix, if Devin Booker starts at the point and you see him getting 36 minutes, a lot of those at the point, if not all, yeah, he's in play against New Orleans for sure. There's no doubt about that in this spot with the total, with the pace up. I do like it. Outside of that, not really dying to play anybody outside of Kelly Oubre. Yeah, I know that Ayton's price remains low. He has a very good matchup today against Phoenix. So yeah, he's always on the table, especially in cash. You need 33 points to feel good out of him. He can deliver that. But I'm never really thrilled to play Ayton just because usually I can get to some other centers, and there are other centers on this slate. And he's not power forward eligible, so it usually just faults him and he doesn't get into my lineups. But in terms of Phoenix, yeah, Kelly Oubre is the main guy that I'll look at 6,100. Outside of that, not really thrilled to play much there. Let's hit on some other games. Washington and Memphis will be interesting to see if Satoransky's out, what the lineup will look like. I imagine Chase and Randall starts at the point, but that's probably just spot start. You're going to get Bradley Beal controlling much of the offense from the point. Outside of that, not really trying to play anybody else here. The Memphis Bigs have a nice rebounding matchup against Washington. But Jonas Valanciunas, can't trust him with his minutes. Joakim Noah, price coming up now as a guy who should see really his range of outcomes is 20 to 32 minutes, and I don't really like that. Tournament play, though, he grades out as a good tournament play for me. Dallas and Cleveland. I keep getting to these Cleveland guys. I want to look at something here. Sexton's price is up to 5,500 finally, and Seti's price stabilizes. Love's price is down to 7,800. So, yeah, in terms of Cleveland, those are the three guys I'd look at. Love, Sexton, who's going to see 35 minutes, and Seti Osman, whose price kind of remains the same, comes down $100. Sexton's price is up big, and it should be because he's playing 35 minutes at the point guard position, and he's getting you 30 points a game. I still think he's in a fine spot. I still think the price is fine at 5,500. I'm not dying to play it now, but if I land on it, I'm okay with it. I do love Love today. I do like Love today, I guess I should say. $7,800. Yeah, it's going to be easier to get to power forward eligibility. If we still see that Nance is out, that's probably also a plus for him. Yeah, I like Love. It's just that simple. But the game overall with a pace, the lowest pace on the slate, and a total of 215, a team total for Cleveland of 104.5. It's not attractive, so I don't want to be getting 3 Cavs in my lineups, especially since we got 6 other games. But with 104.5 total, it's not attractive. The pace is not attractive. The slowest pace team on the entire slate, virtual tie with Memphis at 98.5, and Cleveland gets 99 possessions a game. So pace up spot for them, barely. Well, actually, pace down spot. They drain this down to 97.92, which you don't usually see. Yeah, so Love on the table for me. Sexton, Osman. Outside of that, nothing. On the Dallas side, Luka. It's Luka. He's maybe my favorite pay-up spot on the entire slate today. Cleveland gives it up to the point guard position. He has the best matchup on the slate at the point guard position, giving up 51.92 points over the last 30 days to the point guard position. That is Cleveland. Luka at a price of $8,700 is still fine for me. I liked Luka a lot on this slate early on. Probably my second favorite play on the slate, but he's close to number one based on the way that I'm grading out. OKC and Golden State. I talked about this on the radio show, so if you haven't heard it, I'll put a link on Twitter and in the Discord, and also in the description below. I did a 15-minute segment on Sportsline USA. It went up last night. I'll be getting that link. It'll be archived for however long. It'll also be replaying a couple times. I talked about some strategy and briefly went over the weekend. I talked about this OKC Golden State game because fastest pace on the slate, projected for over 1.5 possessions more than any other game. High total of 230, second highest total on the slate behind that New Orleans Phoenix game. So yeah, Golden State and OKC, great spot. But here's the thing. OKC, we know who we're interested in. Paul George, Russell Westbrook, and maybe you're interested in Steven Adams, but you really shouldn't be too much most of the time. So Russell Westbrook, whose price is actually coming down to 10.8 now, which is ridiculous after going for 70 basically 2+ games, and Paul George. So you know you want those expensive guys. With Golden State, Durant being out helps a little bit now. On that radio show, I was projecting him to be in. I didn't think he was going to miss back-to-back games. Him being out makes DeMarcus Cousins a better play. It makes Steph Curry a better play just in terms of knowing that the production's floor is higher there as well as the ceiling. Klay Thompson, sure, his usage goes up a little bit, but nothing compared to Steph, nothing compared to Boogie. And Draymond, just because of his price, you can get to it. But mainly here, DeMarcus Cousins and Steph Curry is what I'm looking at. But the pace and the matchup, look, the total and the pace, it makes it a very attractive spot. Golden State, Klay Thompson in this game has the best individual matchup. So if you like to be a guy who plays Klay Thompson mainly in tournaments is where I would go with him, not cash, because he can score 15 points and have 2 rebounds, and then you're screwed with a decently priced Klay Thompson in the 6K range. Unless he's still in the 7K range, which would just drop him off of my 7,400 Klay Thompson. I don't want anything. Should I just drop him like that? He's been performing pretty well. 7,400 Klay Thompson, though. There's a lot of other guys in that range. I can pay $400 more and get the Kevin Love, a power forward center, yeah, it's going to be interesting to consider it, but I don't want that, at least in cash. But OKC Golden State, here's the thing. You know who you want on the other side. Just find the value to get up to Westbrook. He's in a good spot today. I'm interested in him. You could even have Paul George. These guys are good basketball players. The price indicates it. On the other side, I'm most interested in Boogie Cousins today. Against the way that this pace has been going for OKC. They're playing at the fastest pace since the start of the month, since the start of February, I believe even. So it's allowing these bigs to just get more rebounds. They've given up, OKC has, I think, 6 double-doubles out of their last 10 games, and Boogie Cousins is a double-double machine in his career. So that's just saying that he can get 10 and 10. He can get 20 and 20 here, and I wouldn't be very surprised. Steven Adams is a great defender, but when your team is allowing an extra 6 possessions a game to the other team, yeah, there's going to be like an extra 3 potential rebounds, and then maybe there's a spurt where there's an extra offensive rebound for a guy like Boogie Cousins. So I like him here today. He should play around 30 minutes. We're going down the list here. I don't want to make this video too long for you guys, but that's pretty much it that I'll hit on. San Antonio, Portland, not a lot there. Utah, Brooklyn, love Rudy Gobert. Price still too cheap at 8K. But yeah, outside of that, you guys can play around with this target offense sheet once I put it on Twitter. Let's briefly cover the early interest, and most of them have been covered, so I'll hit on any that haven't. We talked about Bradley Beal at the point guard position already. We talked about these 3 guys in Cleveland that I like. I would rank them Love, Sexton, Osman. Might not get much Osman for me in that price range. I'd probably go Sexton over Osman at similar price points because he's a point guard and he should see more stable minutes. They'll probably both see around 34, 35, but I expect Sexton to get to 35, 36 more so than Osman. Peyton, Anthony Davis, Randall, all interests of mine. I would rank them in terms of cash, Peyton, Davis, Randall, just like they are right now. In terms of tournaments, I'd go Peyton, Randall, Davis, but I like all 3 of them. DeAndre Ayton I put in here. Look, not a guy I usually get too much. Does have that tournament ceiling of close to 50, 6,300. It's hard to ignore. He should be priced probably closer to 6,700, but he's also not consistent. So there's an interest there, but not a strong one. Monte Morris at 4K. Look, the guy saw 31 minutes in the last game, no Isaiah Thomas. I was advocating that the blowouts were the reason that he got there. They still might be, but he's still going to see 25 to 27 minutes in this offense. I think I have him in for 27 right now in the projections at 4K on a slate where we don't have news as of right now, much of it. It makes sense. Tough matchup against Indy, but it makes sense to try and at least have interest in him early. Already talked about my love for Doncic and Gobert. They're my 2 favorite plays on the slate as of right now. And it probably goes Gobert, then Doncic. We've been attacking Brooklyn all year, and Gobert's just an underpriced man who should be at 8,500 at least on this slate on DraftKings. They're just underpricing these centers all year. Drummond at 8,800 yesterday was just criminal offense in my opinion. Should have been around close to 10K really. 50 points last night at a Drummond at 88 was almost like you were expecting it in my opinion. I had him projected for 50. DeMarcus Cousins, Steph Curry, the 2 guys that I mainly like. I'll take a little bit bigger look into Klay Thompson, but at 7,400, for me to go $200 more and get Boogie Cousins, sure, it's a different position. $200 more and get Boogie Cousins, $600 more and get Gobert. You could even get Kevin Love. I just prefer the bigs there, the guys who are going to have the double-double upside and the bigger ceilings, personally, I believe, and also most stable floors. Troy Brown is interesting at 3,100 as value. He is on Washington. I don't know if he will be seeing a lot more time. I would imagine so if we get Thomas Satoransky out. Otherwise, I have no interest. I would imagine he sees close to 20 minutes. I have right now it projected without Thomas Satoransky, and I believe I have Brown for 22 minutes, and I have Jason Randall for like 17. So we'll have to see how that changes based on starting lineup news. Do have interest in Russell Westbrook. Hard not to. The guy's a triple-double monster, over 70 points, or pretty much 70 points average in the last 2 games, and at 10-8, you need 55 points in cash to feel good, and I feel like he delivers that majority of the times, especially in the fastest-paced game where the triple-double upside just becomes that much more likely. Draymond Green, like I said, no dying interest here, but the price is something important to point out at 5,800. Doesn't see a big bump with Kevin Durant. He actually sees a reduction, probably just a small sample, but yeah, 5,800 is hard to ignore. Kelly Oubre at 6,100, I'd rather have over Draymond personally, especially if Tyler Johnson's out. He'll be seeing just more production in terms of he might handle the point a little bit more, just more shot attempts. So yeah, those are early interests as of right now. There's some that probably aren't on here. I just go through this quickly. Things will probably change. Hit me up on Twitter if you have any questions at all. A lot of people did yesterday. Again, if you made it all the way through the video, make sure you comment down below who you think will be the highest point per dollar point guard. Hit that like button and subscribe before you leave. It'd be awesome. If you're interested in what the projections are, this is the projections sheet. There's a lot more that goes into it. There's more stats over here, and then I give you the projected points for the day. They've actually been doing pretty well. People last night, like the guy who won $1,000, I think he was using them. Some people in cash. So yeah, you can get those projections over on Patreon right here. Let me know if you have any questions about that. You just hook it up. I put the projections on Patreon as well as in the Discord, so you can link your Discord to it. It's very easy. One step, once you purchase them, it says here, click it for the Discord. And then this is the Discord that we were talking about. People are already talking in there today. So get in the Discord. It's a nice place to chat. I've been more active in it since getting back from vacation. I will be putting up this video. When you're watching it, it will be done. So yeah, I'm going to put that up right now. The Target Offense will be on Twitter in the Discord. My name's Sal. Make sure to also check out the Sportsline bit. It was pretty cool. I got to be on Sirius XM Radio. I'm going to be doing that 3 more times at least. So pretty fun. My name's Sal. Best of luck today. You already know my name. Peace.